Now, I wasn't expecting to do another review of a Darth Vader character. I'm not into sort of collecting multiple statues of the same character. It really doesn't interest me in doing that. I know some people like to do that, get variations of the same character, and that's cool, that's fine. Everybody is different, but I'm really not into that kind of thing. What I don't mind doing is having a statue, and then to complement the statue, having a bust, because what I like about the statues is that the statue, it gives the whole picture of the character. You see everything. Whereas the bust, what I like about the busts is that it gives you the full representation of the size of these pieces. And also it has the advantage of being, because it's full size, you can see everything in more detail, in greater detail. So I don't mind that, but collecting the same character, having more than one statue, I'm not really into that, or having more than one bust, it doesn't really interest me. So why have I ended up with another statue of Darth Vader? I'll tell you why. I have a friend here in the UK. Some of you may know him on YouTube. His username is JetForce Juno. Now, Steve owns all of the Cinemaquettes currently available on the market, and I've seen Steve's collection on several occasions. The Cinemaquettes are amazing. Let me tell you, they are phenomenal pieces, incredibly well made, incredibly well put together. And he contacted me and says, "Kev, I've just had Darth coming. Do you want to come over and see him?" And I said, "Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be fun." So I drove down to Steve's. I went into his collection room, and I was presented with this absolutely huge, custom-made acrylic cover. Inside the acrylic cover, there's a bespoke, polished black base with all built-in uplights, and inside of this this phenomenal display was Darth Vader. Now, this is Darth Vader from The Empire Strikes Back. So the costume, obviously, there's various differences in costume, going from A New Hope through to Empire Strikes Back, through to Return of the Jedi. But as I say, this particular one is based on Empire Strikes Back. And when I saw this, I was absolutely blown away. And I've seen all of Steve's collection in the past, and all of it blows me away. But when I saw this just took me back to my childhood, when I saw this film as a kid. And it just takes you straight into the movie, at that pinnacle moment in the movie where Darth Vader is explaining to Luke that they may be related in some way. And I was just gobsmacked. It just captures that moment so well in the movie. And Stevie went on to say that he had his Darth Vader on order from a UK supplier, but unfortunately that UK supplier had been dragging its feet, and it had been going on for a long time, and he's starting to become concerned that they may not fulfill the order. So instead he decided to order one from Germany, and that was the one that I went to see, the one that had come from Germany. But he'd left the original order with the UK supplier, and he said, well, you know, he wasn't really bothered. He could cancel the order, or he could just carry on with the order and sell it at a later date, because he's not going to lose any money on this piece. So I left Steve's and I was driving home, and I was thinking about this, thinking that, you know, this is a really nice opportunity for me to not only get my first Cinemaquette, but also to get Darth Vader, the ultimate Darth Vader. And at that particular time it was difficult for me because I had a few pre-orders on the go, so financially it was tough for me. So I spoke to Mum and Dad, and I explained to them, I says, would you be able to help me out with this piece? And they said yes. And so it's thanks to Mum and Dad that I've actually got my first ever Cinemaquette. So thanks Mum and Dad, I love you both. They helped me out with this piece, and that's why I have before me this museum quality statue here today. So without without actually going in, without covering too much detail, because obviously I've already reviewed the sideshow version, and the costume of Darth Vader is pretty much the same. So I'll keep it fairly swift as far as that goes, but you'll be seeing lots of close-ups throughout this video as well. And what I'm also going to do in a few minutes is pull out the sideshow version and show you the quarter scale version next to a Cinemaquette. Now the costume itself is fairly predictable. He is Darth Vader. He is predominantly black, made up obviously of the synonymous cape that he wears, which is lined with a silk effect liner on the inside. You then have the additional layering of the costume that you've got, and there's this inner sort of tonneau, what do you call it? Inner like waistcoat ID is pleated at the top, which is actually slightly different from the sideshow version. But I'm guessing that is because, as I said earlier, the sideshow version is from A New Hope, and this is from Empire Strikes Back. But you've got a pleated inner coat, and then of course you've got the main body leather effects costume, and this is beautifully made, much like the one on the quarter scale really, and it's made up of leather, quite a tight fitting leather I should say, and then on top of that you've got these vertical stitched stripes all the way through the costume. And then on top of that you've obviously got the armour, which is mainly around the neck, chest area, and you've got the shoulder plates as well. Then of course you've got the control boxes, and as you can see these control boxes are illuminated. So you have the chest plate and then two control boxes on either side, and then of course you've got the belt. The base is absolutely huge. It's made of, it's probably, I'd say about almost 2 inches deep, the base is, and it's predominantly black and pale grey in finish. It also comes with your choice of plaques, excuse me. It comes with your choice of plaques, so you can go with the standard Darth Vader plaque, which goes on the front, but I tend to keep this one clipped onto the side. Or alternatively, you can go with the Empire Strikes Back plaque. So I tend to go with the Empire Strikes Back plaque, and it seems to be the popular one with most people who've picked up this Cinemaquette. Now, so what extra do you get over the sideshow version? I mean, where does all that extra money go to as compared to a premium format figure? Well, it's the attention to detail really. There's a lot more going on this piece than lesser models. And first off is that all this is removable. So I'm going to do that now, hopefully try not to break anything in the process. So the helmet comes away. So you can see the helmet on the detail, and all the extra detail on the helmet. Very similar to the one-to-one bust actually. So it looks, all this looks very, very familiar to me already, because I've seen it on the mask. In fact, I've got this here, so I could probably show you that. Oops, I need to take out the head. But you can see that it's very similar to what you've got on the one-to-one bust. And like the one-to-one bust, you can also take off the face mask as well, which I'm going to attempt to do live on camera, which is quite difficult because it's a little bit tricky. So you just give it a gentle squeeze on both sides, and then you carefully slide it forward. So there you have the face mask. I'm trying to do this without knocking the lightsaber walking around, because I don't want to break that lightsaber. So this is where you start to pay for the extra money, because you've got all these extra features as well as the extra size that you get with Cinemaquette. And as with all of the human heads on Cinemaquettes, this is made from silicone. So this is a silicone head, perfectly sculpted, very, very detailed. Even the tiny little ears that you've got in here are just so perfectly and meticulously put together and made on there. He really does look exceptional. Put that with the obvious scarring on the cheek and across the top of the head and around the back of the head. The eyes are painted. The eyes are not acrylic eyes or anything, it's just standard painted eyes that you'll get on any premium format. And in front of the head, obviously you've got the extra components that you would see on the inside of the life-size one. So you've got various metal tubes and rods and electronics in there as well. Now, talking about the electronics, this is another area where the Cinemaquette excels. Excuse me. I've had a bit of a cold for a few days, so I'm just recovering from that. So as you can see, the front chest box is all illuminated, and then you've got the boxes on either side, and both of those are also illuminated. What I'm going to do now is activate the rest of the switch features. So I'm going to turn on the lightsaber. Hopefully you'll be able to see it okay. I'll also do some close-ups as well of this, but hopefully you'll be able to see this if I press this button. So what happens is, as you would expect from a lightsaber, it retracts out of the hilt. So rather than just coming on all in one go, it starts from the hilt and travels up to the end of the lightsaber. But then you also have extra sound features. Now originally I was a bit dubious about these sound features, because I was thinking, well, that's kind of bordering on toy territory rather than high-end collectibles. But you know, at the end of the day, you don't have to activate the sound effects. If you just want to have the lighting effects, that's cool, it makes no difference. But if you do want to recollect some of those moments and iconic phrases from the movie, then this has all got this built into the Cinemaquette. The speaker, as far as I can tell, is actually in the rear of the Cinemaquette, so you can't actually see it though, but the speaker is somehow built into the rear of the costume. So these are the sound effects that we've got.
I am your father. Join me, and together we can rule the galaxy as father and son. If you only knew the power of the dark side.
And when you press the button for a fourth time, the lightsaber retracts into the hilt, but all of the chest armour, all that stays illuminated. So I'll just do that now, so you can probably hopefully see that. So there you go, and it's all retracts into the lightsaber. I'll just switch the lightsaber back on again actually, just for now. So there you have it. Now, what I'm going to do is give you a comparison with the sideshow version, so you can see the difference in scale, and I'll talk briefly about how they compare. You know, is one better than the other? But I'm not going to give them a hard time. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to give either one a hard time, because I think both of them are exceptional pieces. So let's take a closer look of the premium format next to the Cinemaquette. Okay, so here we go. So if you ever wondered the difference between quarter scale and third scale, well, here we go, take a look. So here we have quarter scale sideshow premium format Darth Vader, and my newest addition, the third scale Cinemaquette Darth Vader. Now, as I said earlier, I'm not going to give either one of these a hard time because both of them are exceptional pieces. And if anything, owning this guy, the Cinemaquette, has given me an even greater appreciation for the quarter scale version. Let me explain why. There's not a great deal of paintwork on these to compare, but what little paintwork is on these two, and that is mainly around the mask, chest and shoulder plates, and the control panels. The quality of the paint finish is equal. One is not better than the other. Don't think that having the Cinemaquette you are going to get better paint finish to the sideshow version. That simply isn't the case. They are as equal quality, I promise you. The other thing, the costumes. How do the costumes compare to each other? Again, very, very similar. The leather effect in a costume is exactly the same as the Cinemaquette. It all has this vertical stitching running through it. It has leather effect bands around the gloves on the sideshow version. Now, as I said before, this may be due to the fact that these are from different films, because the one on this one, it doesn't have these extra sort of bands of leather around it, but I think that is just simply because this one is from The Empire Strikes Back. The control boxes on both of these are of equal quality. The actual sculpting and the switches on there is just as clean as one another. No problems there at all. The boots, again, are pretty much the same really. The only difference is that sideshow version, all of the boot is actually in gloss black, whereas the Cinemaquette version is more of a two-tone finish in comparison. The cape, now this is where there is a little bit of difference in the two. Now, both of these capes are lined. You've got a sort of a coarser texture on the outside of the cape, and then on the inside of the cape you've got a silk effect on this. Now, the difference I can see here is that on the sideshow version they've gone with a silk liner, a real silk liner, and it feels very, very nice to the touch, very, very soft. On the Cinemaquette one, it's obviously a nylon type of silk effect look, so which seems a little bit odd, because you'd think that, well, if the smaller, cheaper, you could say, sideshow version can use silk, real silk on their costume, why a Cinemaquette that's 5 times the price of this is using a much cheaper nylon effect in a liner? But hey ho, I mean, at the end of the day, unless you actually physically touch the material, you can't actually see any difference in it. Obviously, the most obvious thing with these two is the size. So that extra money is obviously going in the size of his character. So there's more of the material that they have to make, and everything is just a little bit bigger. The base is a lot more interesting than the original sideshow version. Have I got this switched on? Let me just switch this on. So I think I have got it switched on. It's just the fact, as everyone will know that owns this premium format, you have to get it right on the base in order for it to work. But it has all the illuminated functionality just as the one on the Cinemaquette does. So the front, although it's difficult to pick up, the front chest plate and side box modules are both illuminated. The only difference, of course, is that when it comes to the lightsaber, sideshow is using the early technology where it's just simply a small LED at the bottom of the hilt, and really the light doesn't really flow all the way to the end, until the end of the lightsaber. And of course, additionally, the Cinemaquette has the, as well as the lightsaber, the working lightsaber, but it has the extra sound effects on there as well. Plus the fact, of course, the premium format, the helmet does not remove. You get all those extra features with the Cinemaquette. Helmet removes, mask removes, silicone head. You've got all those extra bits and pieces. But I have to say, the pose I would go with the Cinemaquette all day long. The premium format, I suppose, is more of a predictable pose. It's that scene out of A New Hope. Yes, I suppose it is iconic, but I think for me, that particular pose of the Cinemaquette, that is just absolutely magical. That just encapsulates that scene in the Empire Strikes Back absolutely perfectly. So that's it. That's the end of this review. As I say, I'm not going to go into too much detail on the costumes because I've already done that with my original review a few years ago when I did the review of the premium format. So that's it. I hope you enjoy this review. I hope it gives you a good idea of premium format next to a Cinemaquette. Can I recommend this piece if you already own the premium format? Yes, I can. Yes, I can most definitely recommend this piece. They are obviously expensive, and as I've said already, I've had to have help to actually afford this piece because of the extra expense on this. But what I will say is that if you have this one, the premium format, don't feel like you're a sorry cousin to the Cinemaquette, because that's not the case. The premium format has equal quality across everything: the costume, the paintwork, the sculpting on the body armour, and the control boxes is of equal quality. Oh, the one thing, just before I finish, the one thing I will mention is, and it was something that was pointed the finger at the sideshow version originally, was the lightsaber hilt looks a little bit untidy. Now, the hilt on the Cinemaquette is not that good, which I'm very surprised about, because when you think about it, if Hot Toys can produce these ultimately detailed tiny weapons, guns, whatever, with such precision detail on them, it makes me wonder why such a large format figure of Cinemaquette can't really do a very good hilt. It looks untidy. I'll be perfectly honest. The hilt looks very untidy, and because the sculpt of that hilt is untidy, it means that the paintwork that's actually gone onto that also looks a little bit untidy. But that's just the tiny criticism, and everything else about this Cinemaquette is stunning, absolutely stunning. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll speak to you soon.